Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here for our 2024 NCAC Summer Camping Webinar Series. Today, we're going to be talking about Cub Scout summer camps. It's currently 7:01, so we're going to wait until about 7:05, another 4 minutes until we start. I think we're expecting around 30 people here, and we're getting very close to that number already. Wonderful. Well, in the meantime, while you're sitting, and getting ready and excited about summer camps, because that's what we're doing over here in Zoom land. I'm going to share a poll that I would love for you to take if I can figure out how to send the poll. I might not be able to figure out how to send the poll from screen
Elizabeth,
share.
here, which
Yes.
one is it? Is it the Cub Scout
It's
summer
the Cub
camping
Scout
poll?
one. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, got you.
All right, so Kelly is sharing the poll. There we go. Go ahead and complete that. We just wanted to learn a little bit more about you, where you're coming from, what your unit is. If you're from National Capital Area Council, if you're from out of council, we welcome both. Which camps are you planning on going to this summer? Are you currently registered for camp? So go ahead and take the time to do that, and we will circle back in a few minutes when some more people join. All right, so we're actually right at the number of pre-registrations that we were at, so we're going to get started again. Probably in the next minute or so, move that forward, be respectful of your time. Welcome again to our 2024 NCAC Summer Camping Webinar Series. Today we're talking about Cub Scout programs. If you are interested in learning about Scouts BSA and High Adventure programs, this is a 3-part webinar series, so next Wednesday on March 20th, and then the following Wednesday again on March 27th at 7 p.m. we'll be talking about Scouts BSA programs and then High Adventure programs. But today is just about Cub Scouts. If you haven't already, we've shared a poll that we would love for you to take and participate in to tell us a little bit more about you and what your summer camp plans are for this summer. All right, so as you're doing that, we're going to go ahead and get started. Hello, my name is Elizabeth Warren, and I'm your Goshen Scout Reservation Director. I'm joined here by a lot of different camping specialists throughout the council today. So I know that you can't see us at the moment, or maybe you can, but I'm just going to kind of go around the room and introduce people. So if we could start with Kelly, can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Hi, I'm Kelly Ratkowski. I'm the Director of Council Program. So in terms of this webinar, I oversee the day camps for all the districts. But yeah, all district day camps and twilight camps.
Yeah, that's a big job for sure. Mohammed, tell us about yourself.
Hey everyone, hope you guys are all doing well. My name is Mohammed Qadri. I am the summer camp director for Camp William B. Snyder this year. Yeah, really excited to see everybody.
Awesome. Drew.
Hi everyone, my name is Drew Goshorn. I am the Camp Ross camp director. This is my 10th year on staff as a whole and my 2nd year as camp director. I'm really excited to be back and give you guys an amazing experience at Camp Ross. Ross's boss. Woo!
Sarah.
Hello, I'm Sarah. I'm the camping specialist and I deal mainly with Goshen.
And Eric.
Hi, I'm Eric Smith. I'm over at Camp Snyder. Thank you.
All right, yeah, so you're in good hands today with a lot of people that help to oversee our summer camps. Today we're going to be talking about our district day camps, Camp William B. Snyder, and Camp Ross at the Goshen Scout Reservation. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, we do have a Q&A section. We request that you put all of your questions in there and not the chat box. And at the end of our presentation, we're going to have a large chunk of time to kind of go through those questions. So everything from what are the showers like to do you have coffee? We'll answer as much as we possibly can. All right. So as I mentioned, today we're going to be talking about day camp and twilight camp for our NCAC district camps. Camp William B. Snyder, that is located in Haymarket, Virginia. And Camp Ross at the Goshen Scout Reservation, that's closest to Lexington, Virginia, down on Route 81. So when we're talking about each of these camps, we'll have an area to talk about them and who they're for. But before we get specifically into each of our camp programs, we want to talk about why Cub Scout camps and why summer camp. When we're talking about all the different activities, let's say you're trying to get a scout or a prospective scout to join your pack. What are the different things that we talk to them about? We say, when you join Cub Scouts, you're going to get to shoot a bow and arrow, and you're going to learn how to shoot BB guns, and you're going to go on hiking trips and all these other really exciting things. And there is a large part of them that you don't necessarily do in the pack setting. So going to summer camp builds on those year-round programs that we have, and they get to do things that you don't normally get to do on your individual unit level. So bigger and broader opportunities available. We know that it gives young people, our scouts, an opportunity to build foundational leadership skills, especially as they're going into the Scouts BSA programs in the future. It provides lots of character development opportunities. Let's just think about learning, the points of the Scout Oath and law. And also, it's tons of fun. That's so much of what Cub Scout camp and just camp in general is about. I wanted to, before we get into everything, talk a little bit about ranks at summer camp. So we know that Cub Scouts, they move up in rank generally at the beginning of June of each year. So that means that the rank that your scout was for a good portion of the year is not necessarily going to be the rank that they are going into summer camp at. So let's take an example. Let's say it's May and you have a Tiger Scout. Well, in June, they will be bridging up into becoming a wolf. And so that rising rank, what they are becoming going into that summer, is what applies for that summer 2024 program. So similarly, if they were a bear during the year and they just rose into Webelos, they are going to be considered a Webelos Scout for summer 2024. And then the last one example that we have, if you have an Arrow of Light Scout, they're bridging over into that Scouts BSA program. So they are technically no longer in the Cub Scouting program and have moved over into the Scouts BSA program for summer 2024. And the reason why we're covering this now is because each of our summer camps for Cub Scouts are 4 different groups of Cub Scouts. And so if we say, like Camp Ross, for example, is specifically for Webelos and Arrow of Light Scouts, that means that those rising Webelo and Arrow of Light Scouts are the ones that's applicable to. If they had been an Arrow of Light Scout throughout, up through spring of this year, they need to start speaking with their new Scouts BSA troop about which summer camp to attend. So if that's not totally clear, feel free to pop something into the Q&A box. Otherwise, we're going to go and start talking about our district day camps. Over to you, Kelly.
Thank you, Elizabeth. All right. So each district, well, not each district, lots of the districts around council offer a Cub Scout day camp. These are for kids who are rising tigers. So those kids those scouts going into first grade in the fall, all the way through rising Webelos. So anyone who's going to be entering 5th grade this coming fall. The theme this year is Jungle Adventure. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Program areas are going to include BBs, archery, field games, scout skills, STEM, ecology. Some of our camps offer unique opportunities like the climbing wall, and some of them also have swimming available, fishing. So there's a lot of great opportunities out there for the scouts to do beyond what's just listed here on the slide. Is there another slide? So there we go. All right, so we've got several sessions of camp. All of these are, you guys can go to any camp that you want to, regardless of the district that you live in. There's lots and lots to choose from, and we're working on adding another camp to the July 8th through 12th. That'll be in the Patuxent district. So we're adding more all the time. Each of these camps, as you can see, they're all over council. There's really something for everybody. They are really well spread out so that there is something for everybody. that is going to be close to your home. They are all going to be high quality camps this year. We are running a comprehensive program. So every program, regardless of if you go to Seneca or Sully or Mattapanai, they are all running the same program. You're going to get the same experience regardless of where you go with the same high quality program. Yeah.
So Camp Snyder. Camp Snyder is basically for Cub Scout, all the Cub Scouts generally. We get from tigers, wolves, bear, weeblos, everybody's there. We have two programs that we run. There's the day camp, which is your Monday through Friday, and then there's the resident weekend, which is Thursday night early check-in, and then Sunday night you leave. Our theme for this year is superheroes, and I'm very, very excited for this theme specifically because we're going to try diving more into this theme. Our program areas are the pool, we have shooting sports, BBs, and archery, and we're workshopping a superhero exhibition where we're inviting a couple of local hometown heroes to kind of show like, hey, you don't need all these big superpowers to be a hero. Being able to do some of the small jobs are also very heroic. So we're trying to do that. We have the wood shop, a fully worked out wood shop where the kids can learn these basic woodworking skills. Very cool. Our staffer out there, his name's Dave. Great guy. He does all sorts of stuff. We have handicraft and STEM. All of those are very, very cool, and I'm very excited to show you guys what we've come up with.
Mohammed, I have a quick question that may be anticipating some more that are coming in. So I see at Snyder we've got day camp and resident weekend. What's the main difference from them? At resident weekend, you get to spend the night at Snyder?
Yeah, so for day camp, basically the program runs from 9 o'clock all the way till 4 o'clock. Lunch is included in that, and then you have the rest of the evening to go home, relax, have fun, come back the next day ready to go. And then for our resident weekend, for Thursday night, you guys come, you check in, we run the swim checks for you guys, so that way the next day you guys are ready to go. You typically end up doing Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night with that. So you have more time at camp, out in the outdoors with everything.
Great, that's very helpful. Thank you.
And yeah, these are our dates. Our first resident weekend is going to be 6/20 till 6/23. That's the first weekend. The day camp will be from the 24th till the 28th. The resident weekend 2 will be from June 27th to June 30th. And then we actually have a new program that we're doing this year where it's the family camping. So it's everybody, not just scouts. So if you have somebody that's kind of interested in scouting, but they don't really know what the vibe is, bring them out on that weekend and it'll be a really cool time. It's a full day of just program. And then for day camp session 2 will be from July 8th till the 12th. And then our last resident weekend will be from July 11th till the 14th.
All right, thank you, Mohammed.
Camp Ross, awesome. So Camp Ross is for your rising Weeblos and Arrow of Light Scouts. So your rising 4th and 5th graders. It is a resident camping program, so that means it is the full week with arrivals on Sunday and you guys leaving Saturday morning. And throughout the whole week, we give you guys an amazing experience. This year's theme will be Indiana Ross and the Temple of Fun. I'm really excited about that. And as we incorporate to have your scouts go through and search for many different prizes throughout the week. It's going to be incredible. Our program areas, we have 6 main program areas at Camp Ross. All of them seek to kind of bridge that gap between Cub Scouting and the residential camps at the Scouts BSA program. So they kind of all give that introduction. Starting off, we have our waterfront. We do lots of things like swimming, boating, and of course, I cannot forget the water trampoline that we have there. It is almost every scout's favorite thing that it's always full Friday afternoons, and it's an incredible thing. We have our shooting sports, which include our BB range and archery range, where we kind of focus on the basics of shooter safety while giving the scouts that introduction to kind of let them have fun and also learn the safety before they hop over to Scouts BSA. Nature, my personal favorite, is apologies. Nature is kind of like that bridging of the nature that's around us at Camp Ross. There's so much, many different animals, trees, rocks, stuff that you may not see back home. So nature kind of lets the scouts explore that, interact with some different animals, and learn about where they're staying. Our scout skills or scout craft kind of focuses on knot tying, fire building, the basics of scouting and camping. But we also have some other activities there, such as teamwork challenge, where the scouts have to work together to accomplish different sets of goals. And if you just need a break, we also have our cobbler making, where you can, take the time to learn how to make cobbler and then eat it at the end of the block. Incredible. My favorite block, of course. And of course, there is handicraft, which is the one area you get to, put your hands to work and get to create something to bring back. We have several different projects throughout the week, including our tie-dye shirts, which are always popular. You can make different bracelets, paracord bracelets, or you can do some wood carving as well. All over throughout our different areas, we focus on making sure the kids are having fun, but also getting that little introduction for as they keep going into scouting.
Sure, you kind of touched on this a little bit with the word introduction. Aside from Ross's boss, would you mind sharing with us what your kind of motto is at Camp Ross?
Of course, our main goal at Camp Ross is to give scouts a great week in introduction to scouting. That's our whole mission here. And if you ask any staff member throughout the week, they'll tell you that exactly.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I wanted to point that out, especially for our leaders as we're beginning to prepare for the brand new Cub Scout advancement program that's going to be starting June 1st. With Camp Ross already having that motto of giving scouts a great week and an introduction to scouting, a lot of what our Webelos and our Arrow of Light ranks are becoming is learning all the skills that they're going to need for going into that Scouts BSA program. So if you need a place specifically that does that, Camp Ross is definitely that place for you with that program already in place and what they've been doing all along. So I was really excited to hear that was kind of the goal of those advancement changes. I'm like, we already do that at Camp Ross.
So this year at Camp Ross, we're going to be starting our Phoenix Nest program. And what Phoenix Nest kind of is an opportunity for if you necessarily don't have adults who are able to go, you still have one who's able to bring some scouts, that we can still have you integrate with our program. So how it works is that we would bring packs together that only able to have one adult, and they're up to 4 youth, and put them together, and they are considered a pack for that week. So they'll go to the program areas together. They'll eat together, they'll camp together, get to meet each other, and create some awesome friends. It's an opportunity to, give those scouts who want to go, who really want to go, and make sure that they still get that opportunity here at Camp Ross. We have 6 weeks at Camp Ross, starting on the 23rd of June and going to August 3rd. Some are already quickly filling up, so make sure, if you haven't yet, to make sure to sign up.
All right, thank you all for sharing some. I know they were brief overviews about our programs, and we as camping directors can talk about our camps forever and ever. But we wanted to start off with a few frequently asked questions that we were anticipating. So some of them I'll talk about, and others will kind of go around the room chatting about them. So sometimes, it sounds like there are a lot of different options for you when you're choosing where you want to go to summer camp, which is great. But I know that could be overwhelming. So when you ask what kind of camp is the best fit for my scouts, we ask that you consider and ask the following questions. What age groups are in your pack? So if you're a majority, younger ranks, so let's say you have a lot of rising tigers to rising bears, for example. Well, something like day camp and Camp Snyder are going to be a great fit, but both day camp and Camp Snyder have the ability to support all different Cub Scouting ranks. Whereas if you've got, we learned that you don't have to have a large group to go to Camp Ross with the Phoenix Nest program, but if you have scouts that are, Rising Webelos and Rising Arrows Light Scouts, they're going to get some more age appropriate programs that are set at that Camp Ross. So just consider how many scouts do you have going to camp? What are their ranks? What are the types of things that they're looking for out of their camps? And that's going to guide you into which camp is best. But also, you don't have to pick one. You can have a group go to day camp and a group go to Snyder and a group go to Camp Ross. Also consider what program length are you looking for. So if you're looking for a daytime only programs, your scouts don't want to spend the night and want to go home at the end of the day, well then day camp, both on the district level and at Camp Snyder, are going to be that great fit for you. And as Kelly mentioned, you can go to any day camp you want. Choosing a day camp is going to be the one that is best fit for you and maybe your commute to work or, another area that you're often in. So if you live in, Seneca, but it makes more sense for you to go to a Potomac day camp, great, you can go to the Potomac day camp. Also consider, are you looking for overnight camping opportunities? Mohammed told us a little bit about our resident weekends at Snyder. So if you're looking for something that's more of that weekend long span, Camp Snyder Resident Weekend is a great fit. Whereas Camp Ross, also overnight programs, is a week-long program. So again, those are the two things that we ask that you look at. What are your age groups? What are you looking for? And what program length are you looking for? Okay, here's where we're going to go around the room a little bit. We're going to talk about adult requirements for attending each camp because they differ a little bit between our different NCAC camps. Kelly, would you tell us about district day camp adult requirements?
Absolutely. Sorry, I just took a bite. So district day camp, for the adults, it is, for most camps, it is a 5-to-1 ratio. So 5 cubs with every 1 adult. And this is not very professional, Maverick. And lost my train of thought. So 1 registered adult for every 5 cubs. This excludes tigers. So if you have current lions who are going to be coming to camp as a tiger, they need their own adult partner. All adults who are on site must have YPT, but they do not need to be registered leaders. I don't think if there's anything else you really need.
No, I think that's it. Thank you, Kelly, for district day camps. Mohammed, tell us about Camp Snyder and adult requirements.
Yeah, so basically, packs need to provide leadership. They can't. It's not necessarily just drop off your kid and go somewhere else. And like it says, 1 registered adult for every 5 Cub Scouts, and there has to be at least 2 present for YPT.
Thank you. And Drew for Camp Ross.
Yeah, so very similar to the rest, packs must provide the leadership and adult supervision, including getting them to the camp. When you're at Camp Ross, you need at least 1 registered adult for every 4 of those Cub Scouts, and at least 2 must have YPT. I'm sorry, I can't. Must be present for YPT. There we go. Sorry. That is excluding, of course, if you are in the Phoenix Nest program, where we will combine you with another pack to cover the YPT. The other thing is splitting adults for registration. If you have adult leaders who can only stay for half a week, so let's say one parent can stay from Sunday to Wednesday, and then another parent can only come from Wednesday to Friday. They can share that registration, and it's a quick just checking in as they come in to switch those things. You don't need to pay for 2 separate adults for that whole week. It is only 1 registration for those 2 adults. Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you all. Moving on to our next one, let's talk a little bit about medical forms and requirements. Kelly, over to you for district day camps.
There. All right, so for medical forms, everyone who comes on camp, with the exception of visitors, so all registered campers, all den walkers, must provide their A and B. Some camps have an additional waiver that you also have to sign. And they'll ask for other specific paperwork as well to go along with it. Things like your YPT certs and everything like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You have to have that A and B. We do not require C.
All right, thank you. Mohammed for Camp Snyder.
Yeah, so same, even for your day camps and your resident weekends, we need both A and B. One of the things that I did want to also mention, because Ross brought it up, that we also do. So for our day camps, in the same way that you can split your registration amongst them, if you're amongst your packs, you can rotate out your adults, but there's still that one registered adult position, I guess is how you want to phrase it. And as you guys rotate out, just make sure that you have your health forms to bring in because we need to make sure we keep that up to date.
Great. Yeah, thank you for that extra information on adult leaders, Mohammed. And Drew, Camp Ross medical forms and requirements.
So for Camp Ross, you will need parts A and B, just like the other two, but you also need your part C of the health form, and your medical records. Part C is all three parts are required to anybody who is staying who is staying overnight at Camp Ross, including adult leaders. So make sure that both the adult leaders and your scouts all have all three forms. You also need to complete the NCAC health advisory form as well.
Great.
Just to note, like the part C does include a physical. So just make sure that you plan ahead for that one.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Drew. Yeah, I was definitely going to mention. I don't know how many of our Cub Scout leaders are as familiar with Part C of the medical form, but that's required for when you're staying over a certain period of time at a camping program or at a BSA program. So that does require that physician physical, as Drew mentioned. So if people aren't thinking about that now, that might be something to bring up to your parents so they can start scheduling doctor's appointments. And all of these forms can be found on each of our camp websites that we're going to share a big screen that has each of those available, including the NC Health Advisory form. All right, let's talk a little bit about fees and the details. Kelly, let's go to day camp.
All right, so for our day camp, we have several different price ranges depending on which camp you plan to attend. Camp can be, as some of our camps more on the outskirts of council are as low as $150, and some of them the starting fee is about $200. So it really just depends on where you want to go. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Camp Ross.
So Camp Ross, for our early birds, so before about mid, if you pay and register before mid-April, the camper fee is $475, and the adult fee is $230. If it's after that, the early bird time, it is $505 per camper and $270 per adult. Do note that each unit does get two free adult leaders. So you get apologies for those first two adult leaders. They do not have to pay the $230 or $270 price.
Yeah, those free adult leaders are a great opportunity. And something I wanted to mention about Camp Ross, things that are included in those fees, that includes all of your food for the week. That includes tents and cots and staff and program. All right, we're going to go over and talk about Camp Snyder. Let's start with resident weekend, and then we can talk about day camp.
Yeah, so Snyder, since we have two different programs since we have two different programs, they have different prices. So for your resident weekend, you have your early bird, which is $260, and then for your adults or den chiefs, it is $90. And again, your den chiefs can be your Scouts BSA aged youth. They're not necessarily the full adults, but they do still come under that adult umbrella. And that is if you get the early bird price if you pay by April 14th. And then for the on time, the regular price is $280 for your campers. So that's all the Cub Scouts. And then adult den chief is $115, and that's the price point if you pay by May 12th. And then there's the late fee for your campers, which is $300. Adults and den chiefs are $135, and that's if you pay after May 12th. And it's really just to kind of incentivize like registering early and planning ahead, because you get a much better deal, as you can see. And then for your day camps, your early bird price is $250, and your adults and den chief price is $55. And same thing, April 14th, the regular price is $270 for your campers, and then $60 for your adults and den chiefs. And the late price is $290 for your campers, and adults and den chiefs get to $65, and that's after May 12th.
All right, great. Thank you so much. Something that you mentioned for Snyder, I'm realizing we didn't mention for Ross as well, is, Snyder has the Den Chief program at that adult leader price tier. That is also the same for Camp Ross. In previous years, they had been on that camper price tier, but this year they have been moved to the adult tier because we recognize that they're there for, a lot of the leadership that's being provided within the pack. All right, here's what I was telling you about, some resources. So go ahead and take out your phones and take some pictures if that's helpful. But if you're looking for, okay, this is great information, where do I find it all written down on the website? All of our camps are structured off of a go to insert the name of the camp.org. So if you're looking for a day camp, it's go to daycamp.org. Snyder is go to Snyder. Camp Ross is go to Goshen.org, since we're the Goshen Scout Reservation / Ross. So, and as well, you can use that for where are we going to go to camp this year? We're going to go to insert NCAC camp name. All right, and something that I wanted to share, we're not watching a video together, but if you go onto the National Capital Area Council YouTube page, that's right, we do have a YouTube page. There is a brand new video that came out a few weeks ago, and it's all about summer camps with NCAC for Cub Scouts. And it talks about, pretty much everything that we talked about today. So if you're looking for something that will help to excite your scouts, excite your adult leaders to get them, ready to go to camp, I think this could be a great resource for you to use, to have those conversations about what camp is, and get people excited even for future years. So I just wanted to share that with you as a resource. Okay, so that's the end of us at least talking at you. I'm going to turn this over to Sarah and ask for her to go through our questions that you've submitted, and we're going to bounce around the room and try to answer those as best we can. Sarah, what's our first question?
All right, why don't we go with, we mentioned it a little bit earlier, but can you talk a little bit about the updated Cub Scout requirements?
Sure. Kelly, I think you might actually be a good person to talk about this, since you're a program director.
Absolutely. I'm just looking for the question so I can read it myself.
So the question is, I have a rising wolf, currently tiger, going to summer camp. I heard that the wolf handbook is being revised. Will there be a new wolf book for summer camp?
There will be indeed. So everything is supposed to be released no later than June 1st. Everything should be, we're going to be using the new Cub Scout program as well to build our summer camp for district day camps, to make sure that we are providing a program that's going to benefit the scouts in their rank requirements. So yeah, the books should be out by then. You can get them online, or you can walk into your local scout shop and pick them up as well.
Yeah, I think actually that the Cub Scout handbooks are going to be going to our national shop. So like you can pick it up at our national store in Bethesda, at the main office, or at our store in Springfield, Virginia. That should be happening in April or so, was what national was aiming for. So that's you're going to be able to, as scout leaders, get your hands on that material sooner. And June 1st is when that program takes effect. So we're learning a little bit along with you as we're going through our Cub Scout programs.
All right. Next question is some clarification on the medical forms. Yes, medical forms are needed for all participants, both youth and adults. And then Elizabeth, can you talk a little bit more about the NCAC Health Advisory?
Sure.
What that is?
Yeah. Again, this is something that's only required for the Goshen Scout Reservation, and when we're talking about Cub Scouts. And the NCAC Health Risk Advisory is directly tied to like lake swimming, and you just saying we understand the risks that are part of some of these like higher risk activities that are available. I don't remember it verbatim, but if you go to goshen.org and look for forms and downloads, there's a copy of that form ahead of time. It does not need to be signed by a physician, but does need to be signed by a parent or guardian.
All right. And then, oh, this is another Elizabeth one. Can you talk about some of the maintenance improvements that have been going on at Camp Ross?
Oh, I'm so excited that you asked. We actually have a shipment of brand new dining flies. So I know you don't use them for eating under at Camp Ross, but we do. We use them as like a shade component at each of our campsites. So we've got a huge shipment of those coming in that are going to be a positive impact throughout the Goshen Scout Reservation, including Camp Ross. This year, Camp Ross is also having fiber optic internet installed. So big thank you to Eric Smith, who's on this call for helping us get that in place. So this year at the Goshen Scout Reservation, Camp Ross, Glen Hawks and High Adventure, and Camp Marriott, which are some of our Scouts PSA camps, are going to have fiber optic installed. So that's going to improve your ability to kind of stay connected. If you don't want to stay connected with work and with home while you're at camp, that's totally fine. No need. But we're hoping that kind of improves your quality of attending camp as adult leadership, as well as it's going to help us with our staffing and administrative needs. We're continuing to repaint a lot of our buildings and do lots of platform and picnic table repair. That's most of what I can think of directly right now specific to Camp Ross. We did just route and paint a lot of brand new campsite signs that are going to be posted around Camp Ross throughout the weekend. So if you're looking for more information on things that we're doing around Goshen Scout Reservation, I encourage you to take a look at our website where we're frequently posting different things that we're doing throughout Goshen Scout Reservation on updates, and that impacts Camp Ross as well. Or if you'd like to be a part of that action and positive change at camp, we do have work weekends or service weekends that take place twice a year. We have one coming up in May, the 3rd through 5th. And then we'll have another one in September, so after camp is done. And there's more information on our website as well about that.
All right, we have a number of questions for clarifying for adults. So Kelly mentioned previously that you do need a minimum number of registered adults, but then additional adults do not need to be registered. Mohammed, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's also the case at Camp Snyder.
I believe so, yes.
At Camp Ross, all adult leaders need to be registered with either the PAC or in some other capacity, not including a merit badge counselor. So they could be with a troop, but they do need to be registered in the BSA to attend at Camp Ross. And so those 2 free adults, those will be registered leaders.
And a lot of that comes down to the duration of the camp. When we're looking at how long are we staying at our camp properties, and programs with Camp Ross being a week-long program and the majority of our adults staying for that full week, that's why we're requiring that all of them be current registered members of the BSA.
All right. Kelly, we've got a day camp question. So this is looks like for small groups for district day camp. I'm told our PAC will be grouped with another since we have a small number of participants. When will we know when that pairing will be complete and if there are a required number of adults registered? And then during sign up, there was some confusion about adults participating being optional. How does that, is that day camp staff? What is that? How does that work?
Yes. All right. So I'll break this into some sections here. So yes, you will likely be lumped into a group with another PAC. Depending on which camp you are going to, they do this in different ways. Some of our camps will break the scouts up by the rank, and they'll have all the Weeblos going around together with some adult leaders, and they'll break them up that way. Some will keep your whole PAC together and lump you in with some other additional PACs. Your pack is responsible for providing enough leaders for your unit. You can't rely on, well, we're only going to bring 2 people, even though we're bringing 15 kids, because we know that other pack is going to have extras. Doesn't work that way. If you're bringing, for every 5 kids you're bringing, you have to bring an additional adult who is YPT trained. Let's see. Pairing will be clean. So yeah, when you may not know who you're grouped with until that first day of camp. It's not necessarily that something that every camp director releases ahead of time. It just depends on how the camp directors do that. And that's entirely up to them on when they're going to release that information and if they're going to release it before camp. All right, for adults participating, the only ones who get a waived fee is if you are on staff, not just a parent who is a den walker. So far, I've just been talking about den walkers coming. If you want to be staff, there's an application process. It's not a long one. It's mostly just filling out a sheet of paper, but there is additional trainings and other requirements that you have to go through in order to be on staff at your local day camp. I think that's all of it.
All
Yes.
right. Related to that, do tiger parents need to be youth protection trained?
Yes.
Nice and easy. All right. And then what happens if there aren't enough adults present for the pack?
That's a hard one. They need to be. Right now, you need to have enough adults. The last thing we want to do is ever tell kids they can't, or scouts that they can't stay at camp. It is working with your units and making sure it's not a week-long commitment. But I know when I was a Cub Master a long time ago, long time ago, we required, if you wanted your kid to go to day camp, you had to provide leadership for that day camp at least one day. That was our rule if you wanted to sign up. It just made it easier. And it was just a requirement for going to camp. It's up to your unit to decide how they're going to provide that leadership, whether it's the den leaders are there all week, or if you just have moms or dads, stay-at-home parents, grandparents who've taken YPT. There's a plethora of ways to meet that requirement. If you've got older brothers or siblings, that older brothers or sisters who are over the age of 21, have them take YPT and they can be the adult leader. So there's lots and lots of ways to make that requirement. It does not have to be like all your den leaders there.
All right. And just for clarification, does day camp also require a registered adult, or can it be 2 youth protection trained parents?
Yes. So yeah, sorry, that was yes and no. So no, day camp does not require them to be registered adults. It's great if they are, but they are just required to be youth protection trained parents for day camp. I think we're the only camp that operates that way. So yeah, just 2 adult parents who are willing to come and hang out for the day with the kids and stay together, make sure the kids stay safe. No one wanders off.
All right. And we have a wolf parent coming. That is a den walker. Should a tiger parent be registered as a den walker also? So do tiger partners need to register as den walkers?
As long as they know, it depends on your camp. Some camp directors have it set up in the registration so that when you register a tiger, it asks for the tiger leader's parent's name, the tiger parent's name on there. That does not require you to register as a den walker. As long as your unit knows when you register as a den walker, you are not being double counted. Tiger parents cannot count as den walkers. They need to be pulled out of that ratio. They are on their own. But within that, that also means that tiger that's coming with is also not counted in that 5-to-1 ratio. So they're just kind of separated, if that makes sense.
All right. What are the options for dens sending only 1 or 2 cubs? I assume this is day camp. So why don't we start with Kelly? What are the options for
So
then sending one or
yeah,
two cubs?
if they're only sending one or two cubs, that is totally fine. Because you're going to be blended with other units, most of the time that's going to be fine. Most of the time, if there is only one or two cubs coming, they're going to come with their parent. So if there's a special situation where, you know, it's two best friends or two kids in the same den or something, that's also fine to come with the one. You just have to make sure that you're using the buddy system. Those kids need to be stuck together like glue.
All right. And then we've already talked about Phoenix Nest, which would be the option at Camp Ross. Mohammed, what are the options for den sending only one or two cubs at Snyder?
So it's basically more or less the same way. That for us, when packs only send a couple of cubs, they get mushed in with other packs and effectively form one big den. They typically end up being around like 20 kids, but yeah, it's basically the same thing.
All right, and this is, or we'll do we have a question about some of the program supplies at Ross. I know it's a little bit early for thinking about ordering program supplies, but Drew and Elizabeth, have you all thought about anything in particular you're wanting to order for this summer? I know at the end of the last summer we were talking about BB guns.
Yeah, BB guns are something that's on our list. Drew, I know that you're still working on figuring out what our new craft is going to be at Handicraft this year. But you know, at the end of every summer, we take an inventory of all of our programs, and the goal is that by May we're able to say, okay, this is exactly what we need for this summer, and order it off the trusty internet and other places, and have everything there that we need, for summer camp. So we haven't quite gotten to that point where we're saying these are exactly the items that we're getting, but we're very aware of some program supplies and equipment that needs to be updated at Camp Ross, and a lot of that will be happening this summer.
All right, and our next question isn't so much about summer camp. We had a question about upcoming spring family camp weekends at Snyder. So Mohammed or Eric, this question's probably to you. What's going on with family camp in the spring months?
So I actually don't know too much about pre-summer stuff. So I can't actually answer to that. However, I know that a place that you could go is if you actually email the Camp Snyder email. Stephanie is our business manager. She runs that. She will give you as much information as you could possibly want.
So the upcoming family camp weekends, there's two coming up at Snyder and there's one coming up at Goshen. So those are a great way to get people to test out camp in a short form format before they go to summer camp. Do you want to elaborate any more, Elizabeth?
I was just going to say, we're big fans of YouTube, and then we've been hard at work at getting some exciting content out to you so you can, show, like, watch it yourself. I love watching some of your videos and sharing that with your pack. But if you go to the Goshen Scout Reservation YouTube page, we have a video that's all about Goshen Scout Reservation Family Camp. We do that twice a year, once during Memorial Day weekend, and then again during Labor Day weekend. And this is a great opportunity for something like low stakes weekend camping. We have people that just go with their family. We have family and friends that come together. We have full packs that have brought, their unit together and use family camp as an opportunity to, go swimming and boating in the lake. And we have rock climbing for our older participants. We have a giant swing available. We also have lots of shooting sports programs available, like BBs and archery, but we also have rifle and shotgun available for our older participants and adults. And we have tie-dye at Handicraft, leatherworking. It's just a great opportunity and way to spend the weekend. And I believe the Snyder structure is very similar. However, you pre-register for your different programs that you're going to attend throughout that weekend, whereas at Camp Rock or at Goshen Scout Reservation, you kind of just get to meander throughout the weekend and go to programs, as you like and whatever fits your interest.
All right, looks like we don't have any super pending questions. Anybody have anything exciting that they want to add for this summer?
I think we're all just really excited to see you in person with your packs and with roaring and screaming energy that's there when you get to camp. I know at Goshen, one of my Drew and my favorite things to hear is that Ross's boss from across the lake. I will share for our Camp Ross units that are on Zoom land with us right now. If you're interested in getting a Camp Ross t-shirt, we have those available for sale right now on our online trading post. Go to our website, go to goshen.org, and there's a place where you can either do individual t-shirt orders or a full pack t-shirt order. And for an additional $4, you can get your pack number custom screen printed on your sleeve. So that might be something that could be really exciting to show up to camp in, is your Camp Ross and the Temple of Fun for our Indiana Ross themed camp with your Indiana Ross themed shirt. Do we have any more questions that are in the box before I close out?
We'll give it a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's
all right.
No further questions, apparently. Is there a time frame for cancellations for any camps? Yes. So for Snyder and for Ross, the time frame, so you need to do your cancellations by the end of the summer. It's usually July 31st. And then Kelly, what is it for day camp?
It's the same. Yeah. So.
Great. Okay, I think that's going to be our final question for today then. If you go to bed and wake up in the middle of the night and you forgot to ask something, please send us an email. We won't respond in the middle of the night, but we'll get back to you shortly after. So again, go to each of our websites. That's the go to insert name of the camp .org, and all of our contact information is on there. Thank you so much for spending a good part of your evening with us. I'd like to thank all of our panelists for spending the evening with us as well. If you need to, rewatch this or want to review a different slide, we are going to be posting a recording of this webinar as well as the PowerPoint slides up on We Own Adventure. That is the NCAC blog spot. And I can send an email reminder to all of you who pre-registered for our session with that information. So with that, thank you all so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.